Since 1982, Nancy Salzman has worked to promote the teachings of Keith Raniere, who was convicted in 2019 of a host of federal offenses, including sex trafficking. Earlier this week, Nancy Salzman, the co-founder of the disgraced self-help group NXIVM, was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. The 66-year-old former president of the group, who came to be known as Prefect by members, pleaded guilty in 2019 to a racketeering charge for stealing personal information of the group's critics and hacking into their email accounts from 2003 to 2008. Furthermore, she acknowledged that she attempted to change footage and records in order to avoid being sued by the organization. Prior to her sentencing, Salzman apologized in Brooklyn federal court on Wednesday for her allegiance to the former NXIVM leader. "I am horrified and ashamed that I promoted him." The day before Salzman's sentencing, her attorneys David Stern and Robert A. Soloway tried to paint her as one of Raniere's many victims, claiming that she has been fooled, controlled, humiliated, and ultimately led to engage in criminal conduct by an egotistical, self-important, sex fiend. Some former NXIVM members are celebrating the sentence. In a tweet on Wednesday, Tony Natalie, a former flame of Raniere, expressed her delight at the weather in Brooklyn. According to court records, Nancy Salzman was sentenced to 42 months in federal prison. Sadly, her prison sentence is set to begin on January 19, 2022, which is way too soon. Among those first to blow the whistle on Raniere, Natalie was one of the first to come forward. She began publicly speaking up against him in 2010, years before it became common knowledge that Raniere was running a sex cult within NXIVM. Then, the group battled her in court for years. It was included in her tweet that she had included a picture of herself smiling beside Susan Dones, who was looking happy, as well as a representative for India Oxenberg named Stanley Zarif. In 1998, Oxenberg became a member of the group's inner sex cult, called DOS, and she was indoctrinated into part of the group. Dones, another former member of the group, told last year that Salzman had asked her in 2008 whether she would cover for the group's crimes and that she had declined. In the end, she left the group only to be embroiled in court battles with them for nearly a year after leaving them. The sentencing came on Wednesday after several of Salzman's victims testified about her abuse. Sarah Edmondson, a former NXIVM recruiter who later became a vocal opponent of the group, told Salzman through a video statement that she is not sure you will ever understand how your lies and faulty teachings affected me and others. The former DOS survivor added, "I still have dreams about you where I'm being punished by you for something trivial and I can't speak up for fear of public shaming." Salzman's daughter, former NXIVM recruiter Lauren Salzman, was also present in the courtroom. Lauren was sentenced to probation in July after also pleading guilty to racketeering charges and admitting to keeping a slave confined to a room for years. The elder Salzman is not the only member of NXIVM to be sentenced to prison. Raniere was convicted for racketeering, sex trafficking, and other charges in 2019. He was sentenced to 120 years in 2020. Allison Mack, another former high-ranking member, was sentenced to 3 years in June.